Now, terror has been brought to Norway's door today. Twin attacks rocked the Norwegian capital of Oslo. 17 are confirmed dead. Eyewitnesses put the toll closer to 30. Now, police believe these events are connected. First, a car bomb detonated between government buildings, one housing the Prime Minister's office. Shortly after that, a man described as a Norwegian, a blonde, dressed as a police officer, opened fire at a Labour Party youth conference just 20 miles from Oslo that the Prime Minister was set to attend. Now, this man has been reportedly captured. Now, this happened in the second wealthiest nation in the world, with some of the highest living standards, best education, and which has remained, for the most part, unscathed by terror attacks. Now, we don't know who is responsible for these attacks. However, some analysts are saying that Norway's increased military involvement in NATO efforts in both Libya and Afghanistan has made it more susceptible. The Prime Minister reportedly does not want to speculate about the Libya connection at this point. As far as what exactly is going on and what the reaction is, RT correspondent Daniela Loga is there. She is in Oslo, and she is going to tell us what the reaction is as she is witnessing. First, thank you for being with us. What have you seen? What has been the reaction from your point of view?
Well, basically what we're seeing right now in Oslo is an increased police reaction, and just a very extensive police reaction. So there are armored, not guards, but armored police and even some army guards that are located around the city, trying to just get to the bottom of what is going on here. As you mentioned, we had this explosion that rocked the center of the capital as basically the working day, the working week came to an end. Very busy time in the very heart of the capital. And there was an explosion that pretty much rocked that part of the city, with windows being blown out of all these central offices. Possibly the Prime Minister of the country was the target. We've heard that he is safe, but 7 people confirmed dead in that explosion that took place in the center. Now, in another incident that the police are saying is related to this first one, where it has been a shooting at a youth camp that's outside of the capital of Oslo. And this youth camp, we've heard Twitter reports, eyewitness reports of 20, 30 bodies that are been lying dead against. Again, this hasn't been confirmed. This is definitely something we're hearing from the eyewitness accounts. But what we do know is that a man who was reportedly in a police costume or police uniform was shooting at people. One person has been detained in this, and information and trying to make sense of what all is going on right now.
How are people making sense of it as far as what they think is the reason that this has happened? Because from what I understand, nothing like this has ever happened in Oslo.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Norway has really pretty much been safe from this. There hasn't been any sort of terror attack that has hit this country. And now what we're hearing is that possibly it's because of NATO presence, maybe even Norwegian presence in certain Middle Eastern countries. This could possibly somehow be a tie. We've heard reports that a so-called association or some sort of assistance of jihad have claimed responsibility for this attack. We've heard that foreigners quite possibly have been responsible for the attack that hit the center. However, a so-called Norwegian-looking person was the one behind this shooting at the youth camp.
All right. Well, we are going to continue to follow this, and that was RT correspondent Daniela Loga bringing us that report from Oslo, where this is all happening now.
Fucking car, man.
A bomb blew out the windows of the Norwegian Prime Minister's office. It caused casualties and debris over a wide area. The Prime Minister was unharmed and was taken to a safe hiding place. It appears to be a terrorist attack on the Norwegian capital.
We were sitting at a cafe 1 block away, and it felt like the building was going to fall down over us. surrounding the main building was totally ruined, and glass was all over the street, and there were people lying there bleeding, and it's chaos.
Confusingly, reports are also coming in of a separate incident of a man dressed as a policeman opening fire at a youth camp outside Oslo. So if the Oslo bombing was a terrorist attack, why would Norway be a target? Most likely cause, it has over 400 troops in Afghanistan. It's also taking part in NATO action over Libya. There's been controversy too over the reprinting of cartoons, triggering threats in the past from jihadists. And some have been angered by the recent arrests of Muslim activists.
On the surface of it, Norway certainly seems to many an unusual target. To people who follow this on a regular basis, it isn't. We did see Sweden last year being targeted. Al-Qaeda is starting to really try and hit softer, more peripheral targets, other than America and Britain.
So now the investigation begins. Forensics, CCTV, eyewitness accounts and telephone analysis will all be fed in. But crucially, it will be who claims responsibility and why.
Norway's capital Oslo has been hit by a powerful explosion in the very centre of the city, damaging parliamentary buildings, including the Prime Minister's office. One person is reported to be dead and at least 8 injured, but witnesses say dozens are lying in the streets covered in blood. Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg is said to be safe. Preliminary reports suggest it was a car bomb, but some sources say the explosion took place inside the building of Norway's biggest tabloid newspaper, VG. The blast was so powerful that it smashed all the windows in the 17-storey building. Witnesses say the nearby oil ministry building has caught fire with thick smoke seen coming from the block. Well, some reports suggest the blast was followed by a second. Police evacuating surrounding buildings and searching the area for more explosives. We'll do follow the developments of the story at our Twitter feed at RT_.com.